everybody, this is Shelly, and it's the last day of December, so it's time for my December wrap-up. Stay tuned. I managed to get a lot of reading done this month, and I think it's because of Christmas break. I think I read about 22, maybe 23 books, and that's including novellas. I think this was like a record month for novellas for me. I think I read 5 novellas, possibly. Either way, I read a ton of books this month, so I'm gonna try to keep this as short as I can. So I probably won't go into the books too much. I'm just gonna show them to you, and then I'll do my January TBR on a separate post, so this one's not so long. So let's get started, and I'm gonna start from the beginning of the month, because it's just easier to do it that way. The first book that I read was a novella, and so I'm going to pop a little picture up here for you, and it was Finding Cinderella by Colleen Hoover, and this was a little novella, I don't know what you call it, part of the Hopeless Losing Hope series, I guess you could say it was, but it's about Six and Daniel, and it was relatively short. It was really good, so I read that one, and then the next one I read was an actual book, and it was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I loved this book, absolutely loved it. I haven't done a review on it. I plan to, so you might stay tuned for that. I don't know if I'll do a video review or if I'll just review it on my website, so probably just do a written review for it. I don't really know yet. The next book I read was The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and I love this series. This was so good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to talk about it too much, just because I plan to do a review on it as well. So 5 out of 5 stars for this one. The next one I read was another novella, and I'll pop a picture up here for you, but it was on my Kindle, and it was In Time, and that's the novella that goes with the Darkest Minds trilogy, I guess. And it's the one that goes in between The Darkest Minds and Never Fade. The next book I read was Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, and I wanted to read something Christmassy, wintry, whatever. So I picked this one up on Book Outlet, and I did get it in hardcover, and I think I paid like $2.99 for it, something like that. I haven't done a review of this. I don't know if I will. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not positive, maybe 4. The next book I read was Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken, and I loved this book. This one I liked even more than The Darkest Minds. Another 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait for the next book to come out. The next book I read was another novella, and it was on my Kindle, and so I'll pop a picture up here for you. And it was called Destroy Me by Taheda Mafi, and it goes in between Shatter Me and Unravel Me, and it's told from Warner's point of view, and so I kind of started to like Warner in Shatter Me. This made me like Warner even more. So when I got to Destroy Me, when I got to Unravel Me, I was a little more towards Team Warner. I know there's another novella after Unravel Me that I need to pick up, and I think it just came out, but the next book comes out pretty quickly, so we'll see where I am on the Team Warner, Team Adam fence after I read the rest of the series. I'm leaning really heavily towards Team Warner, but I can't quite give up that hope that she and Adam can be together. So anyways, we'll see how that works. The next book I read was another novella, and I got this for review from Atria. And this book, if you have not seen it, let's see if I can, there we go. It's A Beautiful Wedding by Jamie McGuire. Tiny little novella, but this book is beautiful. I mean, the cover is like this shiny, I don't know, kind of shimmery. And then when you look inside the book, it's just like super cool. The whole inside's done like that. Both sides. Anyway, I don't even remember what I rated this. I did a review on this because I got it for review. I will say that I would not have paid for this hardback copy. I don't know that I would have even paid the Kindle price for it. You know, it's not necessary to the story necessarily. It's just a little snippet, a couple of days worth of time that goes through their wedding. So definitely they have the cover price set at, I don't even know what it is. It's, yeah, $15. No, I would not pay $15 for this. So, and the Kindle prices probably at least have that, which is still too much for a novella. I think if you can ever find it on a daily deal, pick it up then. But I don't think it's worth the $15 for the hardcover copy. The next book I read was, let me see, I have them written down here. I'm trying to go through another Kindle book, so I'll pop it up here. And it was called Reviving Isabel by J.A. Redmersky. And if you watch my top 13 of 2013, the first book of that series, as Killing Sarai, was on my top 13 of 2013 list. So that was a really good book. I believe I gave it 4 stars. The next one was another novella, and it was also on my Kindle I got from NetGalley. And it was called The Professional. It's part of a series by Kresley Cole, a new series. It was okay. I don't even remember what I rated it. I have to do I'm going to do a review on it because I got it from NetGalley. I believe this is how I would put it. If they released all the parts in one book, I think it would be really good. I don't think they're not dragging it out too far. The next part comes out January 6th or something like that. But it left on a cliffhanger. I just think I don't like these serial. I didn't realize that's what it was. I thought it was an actual whole book. It's not. It's just like a third of a book, something like that. I don't know how they describe it, like a e-serial or something. I don't know. So anyways, that one, I don't know if I would pay for it in installments. I think that I would wait until they compiled it all into one book and maybe pick it up then. The next book I read was The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and I loved this book. This was also in my top 13 of 2013. I have the second book ready to go. I don't know if I'll read it in January or not, but if you like high fantasy, epic fantasy, then this is a really, really good book. And I have done a review for this, and I think I put the link on my 2013 video, or top 13 of 2013 video. So, the next book I read after that was another review book, and it was I Love My Healed Heart by Sabrina Lacey. I still have not reviewed this, and I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. But I will get a review for that up on my website soon. The next books I read were for I might have actually read these first. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But I'm not going to take them all out. The next 3 that I read were the Legend Trilogy, Legend, Champion, Prodigy, and Champion, and I loved the series. I gave all 3 books 5 out of 5 stars. I think I might do a full series review either on my blog or on Goodreads. I haven't decided yet, so stay tuned for that. If you are looking for a really good dystopian series that's finished, this is awesome. So, and I got this on Amazon during one of their lightning deals. I got the box set for $19, which is a really, really good deal for hard copy book. The next book I read was another Kindle book, and I'll pop a picture up here for you, and it was Greed by Fisher Amelie, the second book in the 7 Deadly Sins series, and I really enjoyed it. I believe I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, the next book I read was Unravel Me by Taheda Mafi, and this is the second book of the Shatter Me trilogy. And I believe I talked about the novella Further In, Destroy Me, I believe. If not, I'll go back and fix that. Anyways, this book was really, really good. I enjoyed it more than Shatter Me, I believe, and I cannot wait for the next book to come out. I believe it comes out in February, but don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. So if you are looking for another good dystopian series, this is really, really good. The writing in this is just like nothing that I've ever really read before. So if you're looking for something really good, this is really, really good. The next book I read was another review book that I got from the publisher, or I believe a publicist, because I think this is self-published by My Banks, but it's Theirs to Keep by My Banks. If I had known what this book was about before I agreed to review it, I probably would not have accepted it. Okay, Maya Banks wrote another trilogy that I really like, Fever, Rush, Burn, something like that. Those were the 3 titles of the books. I don't know what, I think it's called the Burn trilogy. But apparently, and that was kind of an adult romance, borderline erotica. I don't really know how it's classified. But this I'm gonna do a review, but it's gonna be a really short review. It's a really short book. It took me like a couple of hours to read it. I did not realize that the content in this book was what it was. It's not very over the top. It's not. I don't even know if I would classify it as erotica. I think I would classify it just as not as new adult, but as adult romance. But it's two men who fall in love with the same woman, and she falls in love with both men. So it's a series. I don't think that I'll continue with the series because I didn't care for the idea that all three of them were together. It freaked me out a little bit. Not a lot. Not that I'm like prudish or whatever, but it's not really something that I care to read about. So I don't think I would recommend this necessarily unless you like that kind of thing. The next book that I read was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This was in my top 13 of 2013. I loved this book. It didn't take me very long to read it once it got started. It's really, really neat the way it's done. It has like these. If you're looking through the book, this guy, the Jewish man that they have in their basement, has a copy of Mein Kampf, and he's painting over the pages, and he's writing a book for the little girl in the story. So you can see kind of, I don't know how well that shows up, you can see kind of the print underneath. There you go. It's really, really cool. And there's pages like that in here where it's drawings and it's his story that he wrote. But this is really, really good. And this was make sure you have a box of tissues when you get to the end of the book because it's really super emotional. So this, if you haven't read it and you're looking for a really, really good book, this is a really, really good book to read. And then after that, I had my son. I have this jar back here. You can see it right behind my shoulder. It's where I put my to be read books, and I'm like, okay, just pick one out of there for me to read because I didn't know what to read after I finished the book. I was kind of like, I don't really know what to read next. So this is what he drew out of that jar, and it's The Madman's Daughter by Morgan Shepherd. The next book in this series comes out, I think in January, maybe February. I'm not positive. I think I gave this a 3.5 stars. I know that there are people who really, really loved it, and it's a retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau, which I've never read, or I never read anything about it. It was a little bizarre to me, and I know the second one is like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I believe. It's set in the I don't know, 18 something. I don't really know if it ever is completely clear what year it's set in. But you know, it's the, I don't know, 1800s. But it's really bizarre. You just have to read it to see. I don't really even know how to explain it. Some of the stuff in it is just like over the top. Needed more explanation really to make sense to me. The things that he was able to do, he was trying to create, humans out of animals and stuff. It was really, really bizarre. I'm going to keep reading the series because I want to know what happens with Juliet, but it was just really, really bizarre. So, and that came right after The Book Thief, and so it was just, I don't know if I just wasn't in the right mind for it. I don't really know. So, the next book I read after that was another Kindle book, and it was called Semblance, and I'll put a picture up here for you, by Logan Patrick. And I came across this one on Goodreads. The author requested me as a friend on Goodreads, and I saw it, and the series is called Midnight Society or something like that. And it had all the ratings that it had so far were 5 stars. So I was like, okay, it was like, a couple dollars on Amazon, so I picked it up for my Kindle. And it's just, the reviews were a little over the top, I believe. I gave it 3 stars. Probably, honestly, maybe 2.5 stars. It's written by a man, obviously, and it's told first person from a female's point of view. I never connected with the character. If you go on Goodreads, you can see I did just a little mini review. I'm not going to review it any further than that. I've read other books where it's told from a female perspective, where the writer is a man, and they flow really well. You believe that the woman is a woman. This one, I had a really, really hard time because her character came off as so male to me. it was just weird because the things she talked about, her speech, she's supposed to be a classically trained pianist, and she's or not classically trained, but she's training to be, she's in school and she's a classical pianist, and she wants to be, this famous pianist. But her speech and her actions and everything don't really reflect the classiness kind of that comes along with that type of personality. She refers, she talks about pissing and bowel movements, and just really bizarre. It totally, she came off as male to me. So I had a really, really hard time with that book. It's part of a series. I probably will pick up the next one just to see. And I know he did comment on my review. So hopefully, because I was the first person to give it not give it a 5-star rating. So hopefully he'll kind of take that into consideration when he is writing the next book, and maybe change that voice a little bit, because it just came off really weird. But anyways, so that's not necessarily one that I would recommend to anybody. So I'm just going to leave that at that. Then I picked up this book, and this is a review book, Zombie Apocalypse 2012. Really, really short book. I read this in just a couple of hours. And if you see, let me see if I can show you the pages. All the pages are like this. There's lines between each paragraph, and you can see how much space is at the top and bottom. I mean, super short. I mean, if this had been written in a mass market paperback size, it probably would have only been, 75 pages. So I think I gave this a 3-star. There are some scenes in this that are very, very eerily similar to scenes in The Walking Dead. There's a scene where he is walking through, this line of cars that are all, in the first episode of Walking Dead, there's a scene where Rick, he comes upon the beginning of a town where all these cars are, they're all stalled, and there's nobody there. So there's this, as far as you can see, all there are cars. And he finds a car that has a car seat and like this little bear and all this kind of stuff. And he knows that there was a kid there. There's a scene almost exactly like that in this book. And there's another scene in the first season of Walking Dead, and I can't remember who the characters are, but one of them had gotten bitten, and he didn't want to be around the rest of the group whenever he turned. So whoever it was his friend. And this is the first season, so I can't even remember who the characters were. But his friend, they go and sit by a tree and they wait for him to die. There's a scene just like that in this book too. So that's why I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Otherwise, I think it was fairly well written. It's witty. I don't know that I cared for the ending of it necessarily, but it was, for zombie apocalypse writing, pretty good. Okay, after that one, I picked up this. Let me see if I can get it in there. Bride for Keeps by Melissa Yeagers. It's a J, but I think it's Yeagers. And this is by from Bethany House, and it was sent to me for review. And Bethany House, the way they do their reviews is they send you an email that has 4 or 5 different books, and if you want to review any of them, you just click on the link. So I thought this one looked good. The cover is really beautiful. And it's about, Bethany House has Christian fiction. A lot of the ones that I've seen are historical fiction. This is historical fiction, and it's about a man in Kansas. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It's about a man in Kansas who has had some bad luck with getting married, and his first girlfriend, the one that he was in love with, that he thought he was going to marry, left him. And then so he goes to war, and then he ends up trying to get these mail order brides. But every time he sends for one, something happens. One of them, by the time she got there, she had died on the train of some kind of, consumption or something like that. And then there's another one who walked off the train and had married the shopkeeper on her way to meet him. And then the third one left him after a month she stayed for a month to decide if she wanted to marry him, ended up marrying another man in town. So this one is kind of set up by a friend, and he doesn't know that she's coming, and she's kind of running away from something in her past, whatever. So, anyways, I don't review a lot of religious fiction because I don't care for it necessarily. I think this one was really well done. It was a little in your face, not really, just kind of how people believed back then, and but it was really good. Like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna review this one on my blog. So anyways, that is a list of all the books I read in December. Like I said, I've been on Christmas break for a little over a week, and literally, I think I've read a book a day since I went on Christmas break. Sometimes more than, like, I read the Legend trilogy. I read all 3 books in like a day and a half. So anyways, I'm going to work on putting together a list for January. It's not going to look anything like this one, I'm sure. But I set my goal for 2013 on Goodreads at 125. I had set it really high last year, and I only managed to get like 126 or something. So I was like, okay, I'm going to set it at 125. This book was my 140th book. So I think for 2014, I'm going to set my goal at 130, see how I do. I tend to read really fast, and so I should probably think about getting other stuff done besides reading. I don't know. But anyways, so that's that, and thanks for watching, and if you want to see reviews on any of these books that I listed, let me know, and I will see what I can do. Thanks for watching.